So Paul Russel, 41, will be sentenced today at Liverpool Crown Court. It'll be Justice Amanda Yip who will be passing sentence. Tom Schofield is representing Paul Russell, and David McLaughlin and Henry Riding are also there for the prosecution. So Paul Russell is appearing via video link. She says, for sensitive reasons, for matters of security that will come apparent during the hearing, the authorities preferred that he was sentenced over the link rather than being brought to court physically. So Paul Russell appeared at Liverpool Crown Court in October 31st last year, where he pleaded guilty. He's basically saying he got a call from his girlfriend, which is the unnamed witness, and this was around 10:30 p.m, and she told him that he had to come home. This is when he found out that Thomas Cashman had entered his girlfriend's home while she was asleep. Supposedly they were really nervous about this, and Paul Russell let Thomas Cashman change his clothes. He then drove Thomas Cashman to Asbest Road, where Thomas Cashman earlier had parked his van. Later, Paul Russell returned back to the unnamed witness's address, took the clothing and dropped them off at Craig Byrne's house. Paul Russell says Thomas Cashman told him that he had been involved in a shooting and a chase, but he never mentioned no little girl. It wasn't until the next day he found out that he had killed Olivia Pratt-Korbel and shot her mum. Mr. Henry Riding for the prosecution says that on August the 23rd, Paul Russell tried to contact a trusted member of the community with a view to arranging to speak to the police. Through her, he made contact with the police on August the 24th. So it was like basically 2 days after, but it was probably within a 24-hour period or a few hours after that. Henry Riding continues to say he made omissions in what was his first interview with police. So Miss Justice Amanda Yip asks about the statement that Paul Russell had an understandable fear of Thomas Cashman. She suggests, for the record, that investigations were conducted and the police intelligence suggested that Paul Russell's claims of fearing Thomas Cashman were well founded. Mr. Henry Riding agrees. Henry Riding also says the maximum penalty for the offence for assisting an offender is 10 years. He also says the Crown accepts that at the time he assisted him, Mr. Russell was unaware of the full scale and true horror of what Thomas Cashman had done. Paul Russell has 13 previous convictions and 16 offences between 1998 and 2011, but none for offences of a similar nature. So Tom Schofield, who's defending Paul Russell, speaks on his behalf. He describes this as a very emotive case, and he basically asks for the shortest possible sentence that he can for Paul Russell. Tom Schofield goes on to say, Paul Russell doesn't for a moment suggest he's blameless in this case, and it's right he should be punished for the assistance he gave Mr. Cashman. It's important to note the common ground between the prosecution and the defence. The defendant was neither present nor involved in the murderous actions of Thomas Cashman. He said he was unaware at all material times, at the time of his assistance, what Thomas Cashman had actually done. Thomas Cashman wasn't invited to the defendant's home. Supposedly, Thomas Cashman said he had a connection to the defendant's partner. Tom Schofield also goes on to say that Paul Russell was genuinely terrified of Thomas Cashman. He says Paul Russell provided begrudging assistance with the primary motivation of getting him away from his home and his partner. I simply ask the court to factor in those matters when arriving at the appropriate starting point for the sentence. The defendant was totally unaware of what Thomas Cashman had done. The begrudging assistance he was providing may have even been reflected upon had he known the true horror of it. He accepts that it was apparent to him that a very serious offence had been committed. He appears to have been aware that the firearm had been discharged. Justice Amanda Yip interjects and says, at the time, he did not know a child had been killed. Once he had become aware of that, his position changed. Mr. Tom Schofield says his assistance was relatively brief. Justice Amanda Yip replies and says very serious crimes are often committed in very short times with life-changing consequences for those affected. Tom Schofield agrees with this, and he also suggests that in other similar cases, the assistance is more sophisticated. It also involves a greater effort to destroy evidence. He then refers to the Yates case. Justice Amanda Yip says the Yates case will be familiar to this city as it relates to the murder of Rhys Jones. So during the recording I found out that Paul Russell was sentenced to 22 months in prison. Justice Amanda Yip says that Paul Russell was given credit for 25% of his guilty plea. She says, I accept the circumstances were unusual. However, you had all the information you needed to know you were guilty of the offence. So taking into account the time spent on remand, Paul Russell will only spend around 6 months in prison. After this, Paul Russell will remain on witness protection with the unnamed witness as they continue their relationship. So what do you think? Do you think it was a fair sentence? Or do you think he deserved more time behind bars? Leave a comment below. Thank you.